I love Sam Raimi. He's mastered the art of making movies that are functional, economic, all-around entertaining, and pretty meaningful. But the last horror movie that he wrote and directed is kind of polarizing. Some people really love it, some people really hate it, but it kind of gets this weird label of being a bad movie. And I know that a lot of people have their reasons to be kind of turned off by the movie, but I don't think that it's because it isn't effective. I think it's actually the opposite. I think it's because it's effective. Some elements of the movie just kind of turn people off because of how well they're kind of done. And this is kind of something that happens a lot when you have like an auteur filmmaker moving from their respective subculture to like a mainstream audience. But in my view, Drag Me to Hell is one of the most effective and functional pieces of genre filmmaking, and it deserves a lot more praise and consideration. Drag Me to Hell's ability to tell an effective story kind of reaches out from the horror genre and just kind of becomes a good movie on its own, but it's also incredibly simple. We have a protagonist named Christine that works as a loan officer. She's a good person at heart, but she wants a better life for her and her boyfriend who has a dominating family presence. There's a new job opening, and in order to compete with this other asshole, she has to make tough decisions. In walks a creepy, crazy gypsy woman who needs a loan extension, and if you think about it, all the information to set up this decision is handed right to us. We know what she wants, we know what she has to do to get it, and we fear for her consequences. You probably don't want to tell someone that looks like death incarnate that you're taking their house, but she does because of her clear wants. Streamlined, simple, economic. So she gets cursed by the gypsy woman and now she's afraid of everything. Stuff attacks her and she tries to rationalize it. She tries to hide the problem, but that just makes it worse, yet no one would believe her even if she told them. So she has a legitimate conflict, and every scene is moving the conflict forward. Because of how the character is established, we really don't want to see her go through any sort of adversity. We want to see her overcome, but how? That's a lot of stuff. Yes! What? Small details presented in the beginning of the film become larger issues later in the film. It has motifs and action sequences with real stakes and meaning for the character. It's enormously relatable while being completely ridiculous. That's the power of empathy. We connect with people through their flaws and the shitty things that happen to them. There's an old screenwriting adage called kill the kitten. No one wants to see a kitten get killed, but if you make the threat, the audience couldn't care more. But it doesn't just work for kittens, it works for humans as well. Christine in Drag Me to Hell kind of represents this. We don't want to see her punished severely for a mistake she made. She just made a mistake. We like our punishments to fit the crime, and, you know, there's really no reason why a loan officer denying somebody a loan should be dragged down into hell for all eternity. It's just hardly a fitting punishment. But there's also the most self-aware subversion ever. There's a scene in the film in which she must sacrifice her cat to potentially appease the demons that are coming to kill her. Literally kill the kitten. The threat then becomes our character having to kill a kitten to survive, and how she shouldn't ever have to do that. The threat is a loss of humanity and an inhumane action, while a conflicting threat is not wanting to see a cat die. Take that, screenwriting adages. We want our movies to be as visually streamlined and effective as our narratives are crafted. Another majorly overlooked element of the film is just how wonderfully shot it is, how wonderfully edited it is. If you're familiar with Sam Raimi's other movies, the Evil Dead trilogy, Spider-Man, particularly Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, you know those movies have a very specific shooting style. They almost perfectly encapsulate the tone of every single moment, and that is not easy. Something I constantly see movies struggling with is shifting the tone. There's this myth that a movie can only have one tone throughout, and that is the tone of the movie, when in fact, it is just a myth. You can shift tones as many times as you want. The only problem with that, and probably the reason why this myth is perpetuated, is because shifting tones is really, really, really hard. So Evil Dead 2 is a movie that constantly rides three lines. It's a slapstick comedy, it's a spook-a-blast horror movie, and it's a gross-out movie. But Sam Raimi knows how to juggle it all, make it effective, and make it all serve the narrative. And Drag Me to Hell is much of the same.
Let me help you.
No, I've got it under control.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Stop it! Did I get any in my mouth?
Oh my god!
The movie is essentially a gross-out horror comedy that actually succeeds at being those things individually. But when you want something to be serious, you're still hooked. It still matters. And a lot of this comes down to the script being just like blatantly a mastery of empathy. But without the cinematic backbone, the cinematic language to make it all work, the movie wouldn't really sell that well. Something is off about a scene, so the camera slowly turns. When Raimi wants you to focus on a conversation, he uses lenses that keep you, like, right there. When the movie gets ridiculously silly, it's got the jokes. You want to show a dramatic moving close-up? He shows you 3. Visual humor is conveyed through revealing things in the frame. The shots are fast, the movie throws you around where it wants you to go, but it's constantly moving the plot forward. It's constantly giving you information in every scene and every shot. If he wants you to notice something, he makes sure you notice it. And because the story is so simple and clear in how it handles these characters, we empathize with every moment in the film. It's pure cinema. And simply, pure cinema is when every element of a film's production, the way it's shot, the story, the sound design, the coloring, the lighting, everything comes together in one moment, and it sells you that moment. And in Drag Me to Hell, it tells you this moment. Now, out of context, this might seem like nothing, but in the whole context of the film, she's turning and looking to something that she has feared since 20 minutes into the movie. She finally gets to see it. You believe that something is in the reverse of this shot, but step out of the moment and be aware. There's nothing there for her to see, except for maybe a crew holding some lights. But her performance, the camera tilt, the audio cues, they all come together to sell this moment, and for a moment, you believe that there's something in the reverse of this shot, even though there's nothing there for her to look at. Drag Me to Hell is also written with a 5-act structure, something I've talked about quite a lot on this channel and how important I feel like it is. And I feel like this is a really good opportunity to just go through it and quickly show you it in action. Act 1, we establish the character and her situation, ending the act with her decision to deny the gypsy the loan. Act 2, she's attacked and cursed, goes to the psychic, experiences more stuff, and comes to realize that this is serious, so she kills her cat. Act 3, Christine sells all her stuff for another solution. She visits the psychic lady from the opening, there's a false climax wherein they fight a demonic goat and get rid of the demon, and the psychic dies. Act 4, we realize the demon isn't gone and is coming tomorrow morning! Christine has to give away the demon via a button that she's carefully put in an envelope. She considers who to give it to, but she realizes she shouldn't have to give it to anyone because that would be against her morals. Christine goes to return it to the gypsy by digging up her dead body. The climax is her overcoming her own shortcomings and solving her situation herself. Her life gets better, new promotion, and she may marry Justin Long. Good for her. But her boyfriend gives her the envelope and she realizes she gave a coin from the first act to the gypsy, and then she gets dragged down to hell. Pretty crazy, right? A simple horror movie being written with a Shakespearean 5-act structure, but it serves its purpose. It keeps the movie from ever being boring because it's so economical. So, Drag Me to Hell is ironically a masterpiece of the last few years of the modern horror genre. It shows a lot of cinematic strength. It's also a surprisingly meaningful film about one's own moral quandaries, about, you know, putting aside their common sense morals for something as mundane as work. And these things cause us great pain because they really don't fit into our moral standard, but we do them anyway because I guess we're pressured to do them. And I think in a way this movie is also a very personal story about like standing on your own and solving your own problems and the integrity of keeping to your morals when adversity comes along. Hey, thanks for watching. So this is back. If you like my channel, please consider subscribing if you're new here. If you liked this video, please leave a like. That would be super cool of you to do. And hey, I like to talk and I like to listen, so leave a comment in the comments section below and I'll probably read it. I try to read all the comments. If you love my channel, you can consider supporting me on Patreon. I also have t-shirts available. There's a website link below if you would like to consider getting a t-shirt. And thank you guys for watching. I love you, and I will be seeing you very soon. Goodbye.